Yo, it's the most dope show. It's about that time to get live. Take a break from your 8 to 5. Them other guys don't have the ability to rip it. We kick it. 3 guys on, representing with the most killer spirit. And we coming with the jokes, so you better grab a good pen and pad for your notes. And forget them other folks, cause we got the best quotes. Randolph does more than just jokers. He woke and he got the files. Tell Andy Kline to turn up the dial. I don't know where that boy Tim is now. Raising the daughter, he hella proud. Andy is straight up and Randolph ain't here for racist. When Tim Miller hit, that got funny as shit. The sock puppets always be there to assist. Too many to name, but they all of this shit. I guess I could try. Love me some Frankie French, Milner and Mike B. Be lit. I cannot forget about Petey and Chris. JL Covan with them Trump impressions. Riding camera coming from the black guy who tips. That's a whole damn nation, so they always near. Pop, pop, bang, bang. Getting green, romaine. 3 guys on sock puppet nation, gang, gang. Yeah. Huh. What up, Dominic? Puerto Rico, Suave. I know you thought I forgot about you, but I ain't gonna forget about you, bro. Yeah. Yeah. Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico, Suave.
Hey, what's happening? Happy Thursday. Randolph Terrance.
I'm Andy Kline.
And I'm Tim Miller.
Yep, 3 guys on. It ain't really Thursday.
What year is this?
What day is this?
It ain't really Thursday. I was about to say it ain't Thursday.
I mean, I'm just saying, it's Tim is on.
Right.
Like, what is it, 2013?
It is 2013.
What's going on?
Back when we could go outside.
It's nice out, too. I just looked out the window.
It is nice. I went running today.
It's 72 degrees and sunny and clear.
I went running today. It was hard. It's hard running.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people out trying to run in the street, trying to stay away from motherfuckers.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, I'm going to take the dog out for a walk later. It's probably going to be the same thing.
Get ready. Well, we're supposed to. That's the thing. We're gonna go take Ava out because she's been inside too much for our taste. So we're gonna go take her and try to walk.
Yeah.
She's getting too light for you. Gotta get her some sun.
Well, for me,
Your wife is like, I don't see anything wrong with her. She'll get by in life. No, she gonna get this skin color. She gonna get this melanin.
For me, like we're gonna go out. We need to walk around a little bit.
Are other people out walking around like
yes,
just all over the neighborhood?
Too many.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting angry at people that are my grocery store. Well, there's 2 different ones. The Giant, they're following. They have the tape on the floor. You walk this way, it's like the street.
Yeah.
And I go to Food Line, ain't no regulate. People are walking by you. They reaching up. Excuse me, dog. Let me get to this chili right here. Nigga, we all dying, yo.
Yeah, no. Back up. Back up.
Where is the rule? What is happening up in here, man?
Yeah.
My Food Line, I went last time I went, it was like they only have the self-checkout line. It's late at night. They only have the self-checkout line open.
Right.
Which is fine because you don't have to do anything. You just do it all yourself.
Yeah.
And I start loading up the self-checkout, and the guy who's just kind of standing there, the one employee who's working, he's like,
teenager,
I can check you out on aisle 1. I was like, oh, no, I got it. He goes, no, just come over to aisle 1. I'm like, oh, all right. I went over to aisle 1. He pulled his mask down below his chin to ring me up. I'm like, I was going to do this by myself safely. Now I got this guy breathing all over my shit, You got
to wash everything. My mom's a nurse, so she's going extra crazy with, make sure when you buy the vest, make sure you wash it. Anything, Mom, this is wrapped up in plastic. You got to wash it. You don't know where it came from. You got to wash that too.
Yeah,
I read the CDC guidelines
and outside the package.
I read the guidelines. You got to wash it.
Good Lord.
You got to wash your vegetables. You got to wash your vegetables, and I think you got to wash your meat because I buy meat from the butcher shop. Yeah. What I do with the meat is because they don't touch your meat. The guy at the butcher shop when he's got the gloves on and that kind of shit. So I separate it and put it in the freezer bags and then put it in the freezer. Take it out of their shit, put it into my own shit, and then put that in the freezer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Once you cook it, it kills a virus.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about that.
Them canned goods, you man.
Well, this is something I always thought about, like drinking a can of soda.
Yeah.
You're putting your mouth on the edge of this can that's been sitting in a warehouse for a month or a year. Well, no one even thinks about that. It's dirty ass top of a can. You just put your mouth all over it.
Well, how does Corona do in super cold? Because you put it in the refrigerator first, I would think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about in general, just before coronavirus even, like just drinking out of a can. That can has been sitting around. Sometimes, like, I mean, when I worked at Pizza Hut, they for a while they sold cans
Yeah.
of soda. And so the can, it would be a box. The box is like 2 inches tall, so the cans would be above the box, you know. They would stick out over the top of the box, and we'd just put another box on top of that box. So they have the bottom of a box touching the tops of all the cans, and that box has been on the floor possibly. And so, and this is everywhere. This is supermarkets. This is everywhere. And you know, you put cans out, people just stack shit on top of the cans, and then everyone's putting their mouth all over the can.
Yeah, and that's a
Last time you washed off a can, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
no
a
one
big
washes
thing
cans.
that now this whole thing will have us all rethinking certain things that we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I really haven't been washing fruit the way I should have been. You know, should have been doing this shit from the get go. How I lived this long, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You get chicken in that plastic, whatever plastic thing you get it in. You don't wash that.
Yeah, yeah. When I get something, I take it out and put it in my own shit. Like if you get carry out food, like I've gotten to Wapo's a couple of times. I don't really look at them as a carry out spot. That's a sit down restaurant, but they're trying to make money, so they want people to come in and take their carry out. But it's tough, man. Going in there, it's like a line outside. Motherfuckers are standing up on you, and you know you still got the waiter come. He ain't got no mask on. You're like, I don't want to be here. But when you get the food, you got to take all the shit out of their shit, put it in your own bowls. Yeah, it's a process, man. You got to move everything. It's labor intensive.
Well,
I haven't had any carry out for that. I don't want to deal with it, you know.
You've just been cooking then.
Yeah, but I'll buy just like basic shit, you know, microwave stuff. You know, I'm not like learning new recipes. But yeah, I've just been getting by on that. I mean, you know, you can eat a bowl of cereal. You know, no one's going to be touching your cereal.
Right. It's labor intensive.
If someone at it's prepared food at a restaurant, someone was just touching that. If something is at the grocery store, you know, the virus doesn't live that long on surfaces. So you go buy something that someone touched, you know, yesterday, it's not going to be a problem. But when you go to the restaurant, someone literally just touched your food.
Right.
You know, 10 minutes ago.
Right. Well, the thing you're supposed to do is you just put it in the microwave for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, you microwave everything. Kills everything.
I always microwave stuff anyway, though. I just like it extra hot. So, but I've been doing Hello Fresh.
They deliver?
They haven't stopped. I did it before, and I've been doing.
See,
it.
that's another link though. Somebody else touching your stuff.
I gotta watch it.
That's the thing.
Gotta watch it.
Oh, not only that, when you
off.
get everything out of the package, you got to throw the package away. Then you got to wipe down wherever you set the package down.
Yep.
You know,
Gotta wipe all that down.
it's all labor. It's very labor intensive. This Rona is very labor intensive.
Luckily, we got time.
Yeah, that's true. Where I'm going,
We got a lot of time now. So
I know where to be. Where you going?
As long as the last thing you do before you eat is wash your hands, you're fine.
Yeah.
Because you know, if you didn't wipe down the surface and then you touched the surface of the countertop and then you touched your food, but if you didn't wipe down the surface, but then you just washed your hands and touched your food, it's not gonna jump from the countertop into your food or on your hand. So
Right.
that's the main thing. I mean, what are the odds that like the plastic grocery bag that the guy with COVID touched, you got to touch that exact spot.
Yeah.
The virus has to get on your hand. You have to touch your food. It has to get like a lot of shit has to happen for that to transmit to you. You know,
Right.
as long as you're trying, like just wash your hands, you're fine.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
What kind of emails did we get?
We got here's the thing. Dominic provokes thought.
He generates a lot of stuff. So let's kind of tighten this up.
Yeah, we got one email
What'd he
and we got
do
a bunch
now?
of Patreon comments. So we'll do
Just
the comments
Dominic.
first, and then we'll do the email. Dominic is also working on some kind of web comedy show presence, so there might be something coming from him. Greg says, glad to hear Dom back on the show as I have been missing his take on the topics you guys discuss. He was speaking truth about the twins having that stupid-ass birthday parade. Hashtag fuck those kids. Hashtag welcome to life.
what twin?
Two of Ava's little buddies, twin brother and sister. They had a birthday last Sunday, so the neighborhood drove by in cars waving at them, happy birthday.
The parades. Yeah.
Right.
Greg says, as far as Jordan versus the current NBA is concerned, I'm not too sure he could run with these guys today the way he did back then, assuming he didn't alter his game. Today, all players are 6'8" plus figuratively and can play the 1 or 2 spot like they're 6 feet, but who knows? He's still Mike. Gang, gang, gang.
I didn't realize that he was only 215.
Jordan?
Yeah. I didn't realize he was only 215.
Look at him when he's in the locker room. I think it was maybe the first episode when he's sitting how skinny he was.
Yeah, and he built himself up to 215.
He had to build himself up.
Yeah, so I didn't realize he was only 215. So
that's what. Go ahead.
When we do this great talk about him and LeBron's a monster. He's a monster physical specimen.
But a lot of people outweigh Jordan.
Lifting weights.
Yeah.
Look,
a lot of people outweigh Jordan in his day. It's not just about that. Jordan
that's true.
Was very clever. He was very smart. He was extremely fundamentally sound.
Right.
More so than anyone in the league. Plus, this idea that, athletes today are better and so Jordan wouldn't fare as well. We have an example of Jordan
that either.
In the second three-peat. Jordan in his second three-peat was in his mid-30s.
Right.
He was not the best athlete in the league at that point, and he still dominated the league. We have examples of Jordan facing superior athletes and outplaying them.
Right.
Now, LeBron at 34 is also a monster. Mm-hmm. So, LeBron, you can say the same thing, but this idea that just because Jordan didn't face as good athleticism in his day, we have examples of him being less athletic than his competition and still dominating them. Even when he was 38 years old on the Wizards, there's a great video on YouTube about how underrated Jordan was with the Wizards. That first season before he got injured, he kept getting better and better. And by the time his last 10 games before the injury, he was putting up incredible numbers.
Right.
At age 38, clearly not the most 37 at that point, but not the most athletic guy on the court. So we have examples of Jordan being an inferior athlete and still dominating the players around him.
Well, I've never liked the thought of if you put a superior athlete into a certain era, they won't be able to compete.
Well, no. Yeah.
I don't like that. You can drop I remember Ronnie Lott saying that. They were like, well, you wouldn't be able to play it by today's rules because Ronnie Lott would take a motherfucker's head off. And he was like, yes, I could. I'm good. I would just adjust to the rules. And
you adjust, right.
Whatever would happen to him. So the knock against LeBron has always been he wouldn't be able to compete back then against these other guys. I'm like, first of all, he'd be damn near the biggest dude out there. He'd be easily one of the biggest guys out there. Why would you automatically assume that he wouldn't be able to compete against, the bad boy Pistons? Or why? Why would you assume that because he plays in this era doesn't mean he couldn't play in that previous era?
That is an easy thing to say, though. You can easily, because there's no way it can happen. You can easily say that Michael Jordan won't be able to compete. And somebody that's for Michael Jordan would be like, well, he'll just change his. Michael Jordan is a champion. It depends on how you feel about that person.
Right.
So,
Michael Jordan changed his game during his career multiple times.
Multiple times, right.
To compete against, the Pistons and then later to more fadeaways and shit because he wasn't dunking on people.
Right.
Of course, people adjust. LeBron, how can LeBron at age 34.
LeBron's basketball IQ is so high.
Yeah.
So high. That you're going to tell me
physically
that he
hasn't broken down
in his head. It doesn't.
LeBron at 33, 34 is still, incredibly athletic. So why wouldn't he be able to compete in other areas? People talk about his mentality.
It's an easy argument to make.
Right.
Yeah, people talk about his mentality like these guys are soft and everyone back then was hard, et cetera, et cetera. But
really, are you sure about that?
Yeah. And speaking of being inferior athletes, Magic Johnson was never a top 10 athlete in the NBA, and he did just fine.
Right.
So when people
always
say
had
Jordan,
a pot belly.
people say Jordan is going to be facing better athletes in this era. That's not the only measure. That's not the only metric. Is how quick you are, how high you can jump. There are plenty of inferior athletes who dominated. Larry Bird dominated the NBA.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
It's not just about, everyone now is faster and taller. So
I heard Bill Burr doing a great rant on Bert Kreischer's podcast about
I think they have a podcast together.
He doesn't have any respect for Babe Ruth, the hosannas people throw at Babe Ruth's feet. He was like, he's not that fucking good. He's like, he's good, but come on, you put him in this. First of all, He didn't pitch. He didn't have to hit any black pitching. None. Just
Right.
none. We're just gonna take out all the black guys. He's a pitcher and a hitter. You ain't doing both of those in this era. I can tell you that. Like, he's right. Some sports you can see the differences in era. Like, if you take a boxer from today and you drop him into a heavyweight boxer from today and you drop him into heavyweights of the 50s, he dominates because he'd just be so much bigger. He'd just be so much bigger.
Did you see the video of Mike Tyson that went viral yesterday?
Recently,
Yeah. Let me tell you about
It's
that.
like 5
video.
seconds long.
Let me tell you about that video. Everybody's going crazy about
Was
it.
it sped up?
No. I believe what's happening. He's hitting the bag. He's hitting the mitts. Okay.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me is that a former elite athlete who spent half of his life doing this thing can still hit the mitts pretty good? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Do you
Very
think
quick.
right now that Jordan
Hard.
could go out and take, I don't know, go to any league and just dominate some dudes walking on the
Right.
court? Not a league, just go down to the gym and just show out. You think he couldn't do that? It's not that it's really not that impressive. I'm sorry. It's just,
I think the quickness is what impressed people at that age.
He was quick then.
Yeah.
He
He hasn't lost it.
He's not as quick as he used to be.
Well, not as quick, but he hasn't. Like some people,
He's not.
I don't know
quick.
how it is with boxers, but a lot of these like basketball players, like they get into their late 40s and they can't even get 6 inches off the ground anymore. Like Paul Pierce can't dunk. You know, he couldn't dunk late in his career, it seemed like. But early in his career, he was dunking on people.
Yeah.
There's actually videos of him, like, you know, putting out facials all over the league. But they get older, they get all these miles on their legs, and they don't have that explosion anymore. And Tyson still seems to have some explosion.
Yeah, for five seconds hitting the mitts.
For
Right.
Paul Pierce, getting stabbed 11 times, that'll knock down your vertical. You know what I mean?
That'll slow you down.
that might hurt the vertical.
Get your ass down.
That's a prison style stabbing. Just poke.
Yeah.
He got stabbed 9 times or something like that. He said he
Then it was
carried
like
a gun.
below the rim after that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was let me get this jumper down.
Yeah, I mean, so Mike, you're like, he's gonna make a comeback. I'm like, no, he's not.
He's not making a
Well,
comeback.
that was
yo.
like that was a fake story that came out. Here's Mike Tyson training for his boxing comeback.
Just
That was
working
like
out.
Yeah, he's just working out.
hitting the bag.
That's Joe Rogan's effect, though. I think Joe Rogan put that out, and everybody was like, oh, Joe Rogan said something about it, so it must be happening.
Coming back. Yeah, well, Joe Rogan also said Conor McGregor was doing well when he fought Floyd Mayweather, so you can take whatever he says with a grain of salt.
But they got to sell it, though.
Yeah,
That's
he was
their
like,
sport.
oh,
They got to sell it.
He was doing good boxing. The way he was boxing Floyd, I'm like, are you crazy?
They got to sell it, man.
Mind?
There's a lot. That's a lot of money to
He
just
had
be.
no chance. He was getting dominated by, but Floyd was toying with him and moving him around the ring.
Yeah,
No, he was
Mayweather
doing
just
good.
made it because it's Mayweather. He just was boring, and people thought, oh, it's not a first round knockout. That's a win for Conor.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
No, it's
Mayweather's
just
not a
Mayweather-
knockout. Mayweather's not a knockout
He
guy.
takes his time. He doesn't,
He's
you
not a
know.
Picks
knockout.
him
He's got
apart.
bad hands. Not a knockout guy. And when's the last time you saw Mayweather walking directly at somebody with his hands down by his waist?
Right.
Just walking
What's
directly.
with the bad hand? I don't understand bad hand. Are they broken? Like, what's the?
They
what's
can
with the-
break. They're
He broke
brittle.
his hands.
Brittle hands. Yeah. His whole family, all the guys, they all have brittle hands.
Brittle hands. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. They showed him on one of those 24/7s where he was doing he goes to a hand woman and she has him doing all these exercises to strengthen his hand up, a hand doctor. But that's part of the reason why his offense is not, his fight game is not predicated on overwhelming you with offense.
Yeah.
You have bad
Yeah.
hands.
He's not trying to take your head off.
Yeah, he's not that dude.
He's just
That's why
very
McGregor. There's a dude, Terrance, the dude, the fighter right now, Terrance. What is that kid's name? Put him in with McGregor and see what happens. He'll try to kill Conor McGregor. Literally, get him out
Maidana?
probably 2 rounds. Yeah.
Yeah, Mayweather doesn't
Terrence
fight
Crawford.
with like Mayweather doesn't have a mean streak when he fights.
No, that's another thing. He doesn't have that. Put him in with Pernell Whitaker, another guy who wasn't really a knockout fighter, but had a mean streak a mile wide, and see what happened.
Right.
You know, but
Yeah.
Rogan's like, he's doing good. I'm like, yeah, well, no.
Or
That's his
Floyd is trying to
audience.
make him. If Floyd's trying to make him look good so he can set up an even bigger rematch. I mean, Mayweather, he plays that shit. You know, he tries to make someone look good possibly, until he destroys them, so that he can fight them again for another $150 million.
Right.
A big
We got
payday
a comment.
for-
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that was a big payday, but probably Conor McGregor's biggest.
Oh, that was easily his biggest payday.
Yeah.
And
It's crazy.
Dana White took half of it.
Shit.
Took half his money.
There you go.
Floyd didn't give no money to nobody.
Don
We got a
King.
comment from Raphael, by the way. If you comment on Patreon about
Sadiq?
Dominic, he will reply.
Yeah.
So
What'd he say?
he's a patron too. So like the previous guy that was talking about Jordan, Dominic said, "My man, hashtag speaking truth." Raphael commented, "Man, I laughed so hard within the first 8 minutes." This is from last Monday's episode, that my migraine was activated and I had to go lay down and continue laughing. Thanks, Dom, for showing love to The Killing Eve. That show is fire. On
really?
Dennis Rodman's. I never heard of Killing Eve. I never watched
Yeah, it's
it.
supposed to be really good.
Sandra Oh is in it. I haven't seen. I don't even know where it is. Is it on Amazon Prime?
I don't even know.
Just got a notification saying that people packed the National Mall during the Blue Angels flyover and they ignored social distance.
Of course. Why
course.
wouldn't they? Of
Y'all
course.
gonna piss off Muriel Bowser.
Those people, that thing is so politicized now. If there's something like that, dude, we're gonna celebrate America. They're gonna be out there.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna piss off Muriel Bowser. She's not fucking with y'all.
Republicans are gonna be out there, yo. Guarantee you there wasn't a hipster out there. Nobody did.
Raphael says, on Dennis
No
Rodman's broken dick,
Ouch.
I remember him talking about it on some show or interview around 07 or 08.
Yeah.
Plus his
Cartoon.
other escapades, and I was blown away. I was barely a year in the United States. It made me a little scared of women going too wild during sex for a little bit.
Yeah.
I had never heard of dick breaking before, so I had to had that at the back of my mind. I was wondering, how do I report to the Navy clinic? Should I break mine? So yeah, Dennis Rodman had a weird impact on me for some time. I think it was some musician that was on Howard Stern talking about he broke his dick. I think it was like the lead singer from Three Dog Night or one of these like bands from the 60s or 70s. And he said I think it was like, it's split open like
Yeah.
it's split open like a cut down the side basically.
Yeah.
And he was literally having sex with like a Miss America or a Miss Georgia or some beauty queen. And he just starts gushing blood all over her.
Yeah.
So he had to go to the hospital
Ouch.
for that. That's rough. Deshauna comments, Dominic Rivera is sock puppet number 1. It was so good to hear him back on the pod. I cried laughing when he said those twins weren't special enough to get a parade.
Damn.
Plus, shitting on Michael Jordan and Facebook. Classic Dominic. The only thing missing was him calling someone trash. Roger said, good to hear the homie PRS won. Mark said, Suave was on one this week. Came this close to getting Andy to go there, but Andy kept that calm. Both were funny, though.
They waiting on you to click, Andy.
Yeah, every now and then I'll show just a tiny bit of emotion, and people are like, oh, shit.
Oh, Andy,
Here it comes. Here it comes.
And then Raphael commented, great news, guys. The president of Madagascar has announced that his country has the cure for the Rona. He wants all the kids in his country to take it. I believe that he's onto something, possibly sterilization of the kids. Oh, he tested only 19 people before declaring these roots-based drinks a cure. The 19 people may not have had the virus, but that doesn't matter. We are in the age of presidents making declarations without any common sense. Oh, the new conspiracy is the WHO doesn't want us to have the cure because it's from Africa. I hadn't heard that one before.
Never heard that one yet.
So how many conspiracy theories are there besides
It's plenty of them.
5G and the government or the liberals trying to close the government to
Oh, there's the
fight Trump?
microchip.
Microchip.
Bill Gates is gonna the vaccine's gonna have a microchip that can track all your movements. So when they inject you with it, you'll be injected with this microchip that Bill Gates created to track all your movements. It scientifically is impossible, but whatever.
Right.
Do they have to make sense though?
Because they want to know where you going.
Right. Do they have to
Right.
make sense? Do these conspiracy theories
No.
have to make sense?
No, they do not.
No.
It's such a racket.
They do not. And any hole you find in it, they'll go around it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But you got to read up on it. Make sure you read up on it.
Yeah.
Do your
Read up on
research.
it and do your research.
Do
Because
your own
what I
research.
read said that.
We got a comment on this is on last Thursday's episode. Brooklyn Shoe Babe commented, "So glad to hear PRS1 on the podcast. Had me laughing my ass off. Like Dom, I stay walking around my house in a robe. I think Andy's reaction to Dom about Jordan not being the GOAT might have been the most agitated I've ever heard him."
Uh-oh, Andy, that's two.
I don't remember being agitated.
What did
I
he
finally
say?
listened to. She said, "I finally listened to Invincible." Later, she commented she meant to say Vintage, my album. I finally listened to Vintage. Funny AF. Great job, Andy. I now have the time to listen to all the comedy albums. Well, you got.
They're out there. Blue Magic. Blue Magic is on YouTube. The whole album is on YouTube.
You got Rule of Thirds.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all shit is on YouTube yet, but my whole shit's on YouTube.
Yeah,
that's on
CD
YouTube.
Baby puts it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Promote Mike B.
Oh, yeah. His
That just came
I
out.
forgot about that one.
There's Chris Lambert's albums coming out May 15th called Failed Running Back.
A little EP that he's dropping.
Yeah, and so you can check that out. Pre-order it if you want to give him a little extra money. JL is blowing up. He just put out an album.
Yeah.
Number 1 on iTunes. Fireside Craps Part 2.
He said I went
guess.
platinum. I don't know if he was fucking around or not. And he was like, my shit went platinum.
No, I didn't go
think
that
of
platinum,
JL.
I guess.
Yeah.
What do y'all think of JL? Have y'all talked about that?
I've talked to I had him on. We talked about
Oh,
it.
okay.
We did a woke file about it. Yeah. Because we've long since known about him doing. He's done it on our show a jillion times.
Forever, yeah.
his Trump impression. We've long since known he's got, and for my money, the best Trump impression out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
know.
it just he just had that moment where the world found out, basically.
You know, because he just his impression is not just I'm reading a script. He's just like talking off top of his head like Trump. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
He was just
Yeah.
on Stern a couple of weeks ago.
And he's going to go back.
That was really good, by the way.
did
Brooklyn
Stern
Shoe Babe
before,
also
didn't he?
says,
He did Stern. He did Stern and what's the other guy that he did?
He did
Adam
Stern's-
Carolla.
He just
did those?
he stopped doing Corolla.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, he stopped doing Corolla.
Yeah,
Corolla
a lot of
drove
people
him
stopped
off.
doing Corolla after.
Corolla drove him off, man. He was like, I can't do this no more.
What's his name did it?
You
I
know
think,
I'm black, right? It came down to some shit like
Yeah.
that.
What? David Allen Greer stopped doing.
Yeah,
Adam
I talked to
Carolla
him.
show
I
too.
talked to him about that. Yeah, he was like, I can't do it anymore, man.
Yeah.
yeah. I think when my album came out, it got to number 3 on iTunes. And number 1 that week was a Nick DiPaolo album that had just come out. And then number 2 on the comedy charts was a conversation with Adam Carolla and Dennis Prager, which is not a comedy album, but it was released as some kind of thing you could buy. So I think I should have been number 2. I don't count that.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Shoe Babe also says the Woke Files with Frankie French was so great. Thank you, Randolph. That was like getting a phone call from a dear old friend. 3GO have really been getting me through the self-isolating. My youngest daughter is 13 and joined Twitter this year to follow her favorite bands and came across the Rashida Jones controversy. She even said how people couldn't figure it she's black by her first name. My real name is Rakisha. I told my daughter when a white person names their child Rakisha or Rashida, that's a true sign of the apocalypse. Anywho, stay safe. Thanks for the content as always.
Right.
Mark then commented, why is there so much complaining in recent years about participation trophies? Way back in the early days of Sesame Street, when I was in school, they were giving out ribbons, buttons, certificates, and plastic trophies. The kids didn't think anything about it.
No, not like that.
Hold on. Let him finish. The kids didn't think anything about it. Now adults are very concerned about their kids' psyche. Maybe they worry too much. That said, after the kid hits 8, enough with the participation. First, second, third, that's it. Okay. Well, I guess, yeah, when you're like first grade, everyone gets a ribbon.
Yeah.
I remember there was, an Easter egg hunt where I didn't get any eggs. I wasn't really trying to, and then the teacher was like, "Everybody give me and like another kid. Everybody give them one of your eggs each." I was like, I don't want. But that was like a participation trophy, basically.
Right.
I was like, I lost. I didn't get any eggs, and I was over here hanging out. So, but yeah, that is something that you see early, first grade, second grade. Everyone gets a little ribbon. It didn't turn anyone into a crazy like narcissist, I don't think.
No, it's different now as they get older.
Yeah.
You know, when you start seeing around teen years, because that's when you start to see the separation. Yeah, actually, it starts probably. I started seeing it around 8, probably around 9 or 10 or 11. You see the kid. I think Tim and I have talked about that.
Yeah.
A little kid who weirdly carries he brings his hooping shoes with him, and like, is that boy bringing hooping shoes?
Yeah.
You know, like,
right.
Okay, that kid's going to be serious about this. You know, so you start to see the separation. So when the separation begins, to me, it's time to start. There needs to be a winner and there needs to be a loser. Once the separation starts to happen. Around separation age is when it should start happening for me.
Well, I think there's also an age where there's overlap. Right. So some things everybody gets a ribbon, and some things they don't. We had the presidential physical fitness contest thing every year, where you had if you got the high enough scores, you would get that little patch.
Yeah, 90 percentile. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was like a second level patch. And that was, of course, most kids didn't get it, and a few did. But at the same time, for some other activity, for like a science project, everyone's getting a ribbon, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think there's probably a few years where you are getting a little bit of both of that. You're losing, but also sometimes getting a participation trophy in other, activities, which might be a good compromise. You know, you don't have to be reminded that you're a loser all the time. Like sometimes you just want to say, like, I tried. Isn't that enough?
Yeah, we never did that physical fitness thing. Is it the thing where
we did it?
Where your feet are on a box and you have to push that thing? Is that it?
No, it was like shuttle run.
It was a bunch of activities.
Pull-ups.
50-yard dash.
Mile run.
Oh, we didn't have a mile. We had a 600-yard dash and a 50-yard dash.
Yeah. No,
Pull-ups.
We didn't have a mile. Yeah, we did 600.
Sit-ups.
Yeah, sit-ups, push-ups, pull-ups.
And the girls did a flexed arm hang. The guys did pull-ups. The girls did a flexed arm hang.
No,
they had to be chin above the bar.
Oh, really? Oh.
Chin up and keep your chin above the bar.
You have to hold that for a certain amount of time.
As long as you can hold it.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they would time you in the shuttle run, the 600, the 50, and there was like a certain score. If you got above a certain level on each activity, you qualified for the presidential physical fitness patch. And which, I mean, if Michelle Obama introduced that, no one would do it. But back in the 80s, Ronald Reagan brought it in. So it was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
They want us to be fit.
I would think Texas definitely would have done it.
We did do it. That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised you didn't do it because we did it when I was in middle school, but you're younger than me, so maybe they phased out by then.
Maybe they got rid of it.
We were in middle school when we did it.
But Andy did it. Me and Andy are close.
Yeah. Hella close.
But 4 or 5 years, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we did it, and then I think there was a secondary patch. Like if you came just below some of the thresholds, you got a different patch.
We got a certificate that you could frame.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they probably give certificates to people too. I'm Googling it now. Presidential physical fitness test.
When did they phase it out? You can share your screen if you want.
I'm looking on my desktop. I guess I could on my laptop, but yeah, I guess maybe they don't do it anymore. Did they stop doing that?
I think who was big at pushing that was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Back when he was a Republican.
This article says that in 2012, President Obama replaced the program with something else.
What you see, fucking Obama.
Yeah.
It started in 1966 under Lyndon Johnson.
Okay.
With the premise being that American kids weren't in shape. He was like, "You fat fucking kids."
And that was back in the 60s. They were just surviving on racism back then.
Yeah. Their hatred isn't enough of a diet for them. So we gotta get them working out at home.
Yeah, I guess so. It lasted a while. I remember one, like every now and then there'd be like a kid who had like 6 or 7 patches because they would get it every year and they would like put that shit on their jacket or something.
Oh God.
Showing out on the bus. Look how in shape I am.
I can do pull-ups.
Obama was
here's
like,
an article.
All right, enough. Let's just eat vegetables. Just try that. Stop working out and eat some vegetables.
Well, Michelle Obama tried that.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Didn't work. We got a comment from On My Pancakes who says Puerto Rico Suave, aka Medium Pun, is back in the building. Great episode. Dominic's sports takes leave me conflicted. When it comes to Bron over Jordan, he has a reasonable point of view. When it comes to youth sports, he starts sounding like Kim Jong-un. We're going to have to start calling him North Korean Suave. Honestly, it took me a while before I knew Rashida Jones was black. I got the controversy because I used to give The Rock a hard time about only being black when it was convenient. But like Randolph said out there in Hollywood, you got to do what you got to do. I sure hope Rand Paul's neighbor didn't get community service for that whooping. In a way, I feel he already did his community service. In fact, I feel he should have had one of those orange vests on when he was giving those hands. Blue Magic is bought, but I haven't had time to listen. Y'all be healthy, and thanks for another great show.
Nice.
So next up is Rule of Thirds. And then we got an email. One email. Everything else was comments this week, but we got an email from... Well, yeah, Mark sent us an email. Okay. Title of the email is Bleach.
Oh, shit.
What up, fellas? Mark from Brooklyn here. I want to write an email every week, but I don't get around to it. Dom came through on fire. When he said they were operating on Kim and his nose turned red, he dead. That took me out. That took me out, LOL. Also, for some reason, people do put bleach in their bathwater. I seen a Facebook post about it, and people said they grew up that way. I guess black people are literally trying to bleach their skin. I only use bleach for cleaning and clothes, like most people. I have caught a couple of comedy shows on Zoom. Yeah, that wasn't a black person we were talking about last week. It was Chris Cuomo's wife was putting bleach in the bathtub.
Yes. Chris Cuomo's wife.
Yeah, she's white. She's Ivy League educated white woman.
Ivy League
bathe
educated.
in bleach?
Yeah.
She puts like a quarter, half a cup in the bathwater. Not a lot, but a
Half
little
a cup or a cap?
Yeah. And the bleach people were like, yeah, don't do that. They were like,
Have we asked the bleach
God.
people? Mark says, I've caught a couple comedy shows on Zoom. From the audience point of view, it's not bad. We just have to remember not to talk if the mics aren't muted. It's like watching on TV. I don't know how y'all comedians can work on your jokes online without full feedback.
I don't know
Keep up
either.
the great content.
I don't think you can. I think with the jokes that you got now, that's it.
Yeah.
yeah.
You can slip a new one in. If you're doing
That's
a long
probably
Yeah.
what you have to do. You'd have to write during the show.
Yeah.
Or
I can see it.
you know what you could do? You know what you could do? You could have open mics. You could do
Well, people are doing that now, too. They're doing
Zoom
open mics.
This is
Oh,
gonna
I
be
would
new.
do that. I think I would do that.
You get to watch the process.
We also got another email.
I still don't know if I would trust it because part of me building jokes is looking at people's faces
Yeah.
to see how they react in real time. Because even if you don't laugh, if I see a spark on your face, I'd be like, okay, there's something there.
Right. I just don't know if people are as ready to laugh in their house as they are in the comedy club.
Yep.
So I don't know if it's honest feedback. I like an
Right.
honest audience. Some audiences are not honest. They laugh too much at the wrong things or not enough. I don't know how honest the feedback would be on a Zoom comedy show. You know, I think there'd be a lot of like grading you on a curve, cheering you on,
Right.
being extra laughy just because they want to
Thanks for
make
doing
sure.
this for us type shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks for all you're doing. We got an email, another one actually. We got an email from, who's it from? Where is it? Oh, Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi from Cleveland. Email is titled Miffed but Grateful Millennial. Greetings, three guys on and sock puppet. Nope, no sock puppets this week. It's been 2 years since I last wrote, but I've been a loyal listener for about 5 years. Y'all have got me through so many tough times as my big brother's in my head.
Thank you.
And I'm eternally grateful for the consistent and high-quality content. Now, I do have to say that in episode 920, Bleach in Your Chest, you all spoke about millennials and our desire to be politically courted as voters. But in my white girl voice, as one, I do have a couple of points.
Uh-oh.
Number one, millennials came of age during 9/11 in adolescence, rise in school shootings, 2008 economic downturn, once we graduated high school, college, astronomical student loan debt, and now entering a new era of the gig economy and lost wages. We've never seen prosperity or even a modicum of economic stability, so our politics are framed within the realm of we did everything our parents taught us and still got screwed. Next point. Willingness to burn down the political establishment seems like a millennial idea, but mainly because people don't know how old millennials are. I'm 32 in 2 weeks, and the oldest of us are 40.
Yep.
What are the younger millennials, like 25 now? Maybe?
Younger.
I wonder.
I think they're in their mid-20s, the younger millennials. She says Generation Z, the OK Boomer creators, because I attributed that to millennials. The OK Boomer creators are the kids that are completely disillusioned with modern politics. They are really nihilistic in a funny yet terrifying way, in my opinion. See
Explain
TikTok. The oldest of them voted in large blocks for Bernie Sanders in 2016 and are actively vocal about still voting for him in the general, which is wild AF. Yeah, he's not on the ballot.
No.
Generation Z. Most millennials aren't excited about Biden, but we saw what happened in 2016 and aren't willing to make that calculation again. The Bernie bro contingent is the loudest, but they don't have any real power, especially not in our generation.
Nope.
Gen Xers, that's what I am,
Yep.
had a similar mindset, potentially worse, since it ushered in a new era of purity voting, i.e. Ralph Nader voters in 2000, setting a modern precedent for spoiler candidates. I think Perot did that, which was also Generation X. Extremely low voter turnout for the 2000 and 2004 elections, ones that would have changed the trajectory of America today. Lastly, Dominic and Randy, please blame our boomer parents on participation trophies. We honestly couldn't have cared less. We just wanted chicken nuggets from McDonald's and left alone to watch Pepper Ann on Disney Channel
Listen to me. I oftentimes say that it's parents of my generation. I came to parenting, I'm doing air quotes now, late, because I was 38 when my daughter was born. But it's people my age who did all these, and I say did all these things to these kids, gave them all the participation trophies, gave them all these entitlements. It's all people my age, because we came from a place of our parents were hard on us. So when I become a parent, I'm not going to do my child like that, So it's all people my generation. Whatever number my generation is, it's people my generation.
Well, you're Generation X. I think
my generation. I don't make any qualms about that. And you think you're helping these children, and you're not. You're hamstringing them.
But I think people have been talking about participation trophies for like 15 years now. Like it spans generations. There was a big thing of people my age. I remember hearing it a lot. When I become a parent, I'm not going to do my children like this. Some things they've been right on. For instance, beating children, that needs to stop completely. Particularly inside the black community, you need to let that bullshit go. Because that's all that is. It's some bullshit. This corporal punishment bullshit is just some bullshit. But some of the stuff, like not allowing your children to think for themselves, just not letting them go outside. Nobody's trying to fuck your kid, man. Let them go outside.
Well, that's my fear, of course.
You got to let them go. I know I have it too, but I'm like, you got to let them go out, man, or they just they don't process things or not letting them see certain things so they can learn how to process certain emotions and certain things. You know what I mean?
Chi-Chi finishes the email. All in all, I love how this episode challenged me to think about things that I have held as firm beliefs and honestly given me new perspectives on the wisdom of Gen Xers like y'all. Y'all are the truth. Much love and be well. Chi-Chi from Cleveland. Yeah, I think we do. A lot of people do consider any young person a millennial. And a lot of times we are mad at Generation Z when we're talking about millennials. Because millennials are like full-on adults. They're out of college for the most part. I guess maybe completely.
They're literally 30. I think I'm right on the cusp of millennial and Gen X.
Yeah.
I'm definitely Gen X. I lean toward Gen X, though.
Yeah, I think, I'm like younger in Generation. I think Generation X ended around 79 or 80 is what they say.
I was born in 78, so I'm right there.
Yeah. So, and then millennials started. So that means the millennials are close to 40. Now, the oldest ones are close to 40. Yeah. The youngest ones are in their mid-20s, which is, the thing is, things move so quickly now technologically that a generation doesn't have to span 17, 25 years or whatever it used to. There's so much difference between a 25-year-old and a 40-year-old in terms of how they grew up and what was instilled in them, all their values and shit. I mean, Generation X, I have like half my life was, the old thing, but the pre-technology, pre-internet world. And then the other half is what it is now. But now these kids are growing up 100% of their time is the whole world can cater to them because they can curate their world to cater to them. So you're going to have narcissism. You're going to have self-centeredness.
Yeah, so how healthy do you think that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the 10 years from now, it'll be even more like that, for the next group of kids, and then on and on and on. So maybe there will be a rebellion, and some kids will. Yeah.
Now, how that translates into the political world is a whole nother thing. I find it to be a lack of pragmatism and a lack of long-term planning.
Well, idealism.
We want things to change now. I'm like, well,
yeah. Idealism is just a thing among young people to begin with. Like you're going to be more idealistic when you're younger. It has to be my way. And if it's not, then I'm not going to be involved. And, again, I turned 18 when Ross Perot ran the first time. Mm-hmm. He got like almost 20% of the vote. Yeah. They changed the rules after that so that third parties really couldn't be in debates because he was in the debates showing up Clinton and showing up Bush. And he was actually doing a lot of Bush's work when he would criticize Clinton. So Bush could be like the nice guy and Perot would point out Clinton's faults and then the other way around. So... But it disrupted the whole thing. And so since then, it's been very difficult for a third party. Nader tried it. Other people have tried it. But that was 92 when Perot ran. That was young Generation X people, being motivated.
Ross Perot has an hour on television or 30 minutes.
Yeah. He'd have like a special every week.
Yeah, he would have.
He had money.
This right here is the president, and this is what he's thinking about.
Yeah. That's all I want to do.
He would go to Kinko's. He had little graphs and charts.
Yeah.
We got to open up the hood and look inside.
Look here.
All I want to do.
And we got one more thing. We got a new patron who sent us a message. For Kathleen says, "Hi, three guys on. I'm tossing in a few bucks a month just to show a little support. Keep safe." Well, thank you, Kathleen.
Appreciate you.
When you become a patron, you can send us a message. Or not. It's optional. But
up to you. We appreciate you, though.
Yeah. We do check them.
Tim,
that's all the comments.
Let's talk about Louis first before we talk about Black as Fuck. What did you think of Louis' special? You got it. What did you think of it?
I liked it. It was classic Louis C.K. I mean, I didn't read or look for any hate he would have gotten. When it came out, the Saturday of like the first week of this whole lockdown. So
yeah,
it was good timing too. Somebody made a joke. Some girl made a joke about that.
Like what?
He's forcing stuff on you. It would be just like Louis C.K. to force his content on you. I'm like, it's not for you. Have to go. It's a stupid joke. That's nothing. I don't like stupid jokes. Like, you have to go seek out his material.
But
you have to go find it and get it.
Right. What else? What other jokes could she make?
None. Now? It's a stupid joke.
If that's what you're looking for. If that's what everybody's content right now is, a lot of it is COVID. So anything else, you gonna get little cheap jokes like that.
Yeah, I'm like, it's a stupid because you gotta go find his stuff. You gotta go buy it.
You gotta go to the website. This is what I saw. I saw some people saying that too. It's like, I'm not going on this site to. Did you like it? Did you? Because I'm not buying it. Like, that's fine. I bought it. Yeah. It was $7. I like Louis C.K. I'm a fan. He did what he did. He talked about it, which
that's the thing. Is like he talked about it.
He talked about it. Why wouldn't he? Yeah. So
well, that was one of the, of course, because people are going to be critics. I saw someone be like, "Well, he didn't talk about it. Really, he didn't talk about it enough. He didn't. So even if he talks about it, like it's damned if you do, damned if you don't."
Right.
Well, my thing is, as the comedian that he is, if he doesn't talk about it, he's a fraud. But he did talk about it.
He talked about it, right?
Now, like I said, if he didn't, I'd be like, well, he's a fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's a guy who talks about those type of things and opens himself up. Now all of a sudden you don't want to talk? Okay, fraud.
Yeah.
But he
basically said like if you ask somebody if you want them to you to jerk off in front of them and they say yes, still don't do it. Like and then he talked about not being like not knowing. Thank God I don't know your sexual preferences. Thank God. I don't think you get what I'm saying. Thank God I don't know. Thank God the world doesn't know your sexual preferences. Okay? Because everybody, think about this. Barack Obama knows my sexual preferences.
Right.
Like, so he talked about it close to the end. A lot of the material was, it was classic. I would say the one that he did at the Comedy Store. That's what it reminded me of. It was a lot of silly shit like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I would feel better about hearing that than seeing what Aziz did. I'm like, Aziz, you didn't have to do that, dog.
What did Aziz? Aziz, yeah, and his special. But Aziz is not like a. He's not like a strong stand-up though.
Good. But I'm like, you didn't have to do that, man. You didn't have to.
No.
You have to do that shit at all.
What did Aziz do? I don't think I saw that.
He on his special, the one where he came back with the T-shirt on,
the Metallica shirt.
Yeah. He talked about it in his special. I'm like, why are you talking about it? You don't have to.
Yeah.
What did he? I can't remember what he did actually.
He just talked about it. He didn't have no jokes. There was no jokes about it, nothing.
Yeah.
Just like
he learned from it.
I did this, and I made this woman feel bad, and I'm like, okay, man, I guess.
Did you even bring it up, dog?
Yeah.
But I think that plays to it. First of all, the critics, they talked about him too.
Yeah, but I was like, dude, you should have seen all the people who were like, you know what? I like this Aziz. I like Aziz like this. I'm like, yeah, you like him, the way you want him to be,
Right. And there were still people who thought, well, it was an inadequate apology.
Exactly.
Nothing's going to be adequate.
Yeah, there were some people who
on the other hand, Louis did a crime. So, that's a crime. It's a crime of, there's levels of criminality, obviously. And on the low end, it's a low end crime.
What was the crime Louis did?
But it's a crime. You can't just pull your dick out and start jacking it in front of people.
Holding people against their will because he stood in the doorway.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
a crime.
Okay.
You can't do that.
You can't do that.
That's a crime.
Yeah. But overall, I thought it was fine for what we're going through. I wouldn't put it up there with one like his best specials, but it was good.
Mm-hmm.
I guess in social isolation, does he just have to jerk off in front of cardboard cutouts of people?
Yeah,
I would guess so.
That's really got to suck for him.
Does he have a jerk show, or he just has people
on Zoom? He has a jerk show on Zoom.
His album called The Jerk Show.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. If you click on this link, that means you have consented. I'm asking you to watch me jerk off.
What y'all think? Before we get to Black as Fuck, speaking of sexual stuff, what y'all think of Biden? Because your young lady got me thinking about that.
Tara Reid.
Politics. What y'all think of it?
Wait a minute. What Tara Reid do?
No, not Tara Reid, the actress.
Not that one.
The woman who's accusing Biden is named Tara Reid.
Right.
Oh,
but Reid is spelled different. It's Reade.
Yeah.
What did she say that he did?
Put
there's
him
a couple
against the wall and put his fingers inside of her.
What?
There's a couple things, though, because she worked in his office.
What is he doing?
And there was some sexual harassment going on before that. They were telling her to not wear clothes that were as provocative, etc.
No.
So there was already a culture. So she had already talked about that like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And then I guess she had sort of had this other part of the story that she didn't say publicly yet until fairly recently, where
no.
She had to take a gym bag to him. She had to meet him somewhere and take a gym bag to him, and he sort of pulled her over into a corner, and he put his hand up her skirt and penetrated her.
Oh my God!
Back in '93, and so she says she filed some kind of complaint about the sexual harassment, not about the, when people say he's a rapist, or that's what they're talking about him without her consent, fingering her. That's what they're saying. So, she said she filed some kind of complaint about sexual harassment. She told a few people, but she never went public. She told her mother, and she told her brother, and a friend or something like that. And then now recently it has gone public. But there's a lot of questions about her.
Right.
Of course, they always do that. They always flip it on the victim.
Yeah, but she's also she was posting a lot of pro Bernie tweets in the last couple of years. Out of nowhere, she started tweeting about how much she loved Vladimir Putin. So people are thinking, is she being controlled by some kind of Russian thing because it's a kind of a weird takedown? She went to the Time's Up movement a few months ago to tell her story, to publicize it, and they turned her down because they didn't find it a credible enough story, et cetera, et cetera. So
also,
basically,
so here's a couple of things. Biden, when Biden became vice president, when they vet you for that, just like anything else.
Yeah.
They looked in every orifice of his body looking for something, and they didn't find anything remotely like this.
Kind of like he did her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't find anything remotely like this, So she said she made this report. I made this report. There's no copy of the report in existence. So she's like, well, I don't have it anymore. Like, you don't have the copy of the report anymore.
On the flip side, there's a clip from the Larry King show in 1993 where her mother's dead now, so she can't corroborate, but her mother calls in and says, my daughter used to work on Capitol Hill, and she had they were talking about sexual scandals among senators, because there were a couple back then. And because people say, well, it's a credible story if you told people back then, and they can say, yeah, she told me. Just like with Kavanaugh's accuser, she told people at the time. So it's not like, I just made this up today. And, so her mother called in Larry King and she didn't name Joe Biden's name, but she said, my daughter just left a job, blah, blah, blah. And then her brother now says that he remembered her telling something about it, but he wasn't as clear on what she said.
And then he changed his story.
And then there was a neighbor who said she kind of remembers something from back then. So, but then you look there's all these Twitter threads about calling her into question because she's got these random, I love Vladimir Putin and this and that. And it doesn't seem like a clear-cut case. And then so Joe Biden had to go on TV basically last week.
So he came out and said, I didn't do it. I said, my reaction to that is, okay, now what?
Right.
Now what?
Right. Do you believe him or no? Or do you believe him or
you're never going to know? You're never going to know.
Or do the people that were going to vote for Joe Biden, are they now supposed to
the Bernie people have all been like, oh, you got to get rid of him so we can have people we know all over Facebook. You got to get rid of him. I can't believe Barack Obama trusted this guy and how shitty is Barack Obama. Like, you understand, they looked in every aspect of this guy's life and none of this came up. You get that, right?
It's self-interest. They want Biden out so Bernie will go in. Right. Also, a lot of them who were sort of trying to justify sitting out the election, which will help Trump win, now have a justifiable reason where they can say, well, I can't put up with this. Yeah. I can't vote for a rapist. I've seen people say that. I can't vote for a rapist.
Exactly.
He's, first of all, alleged, accused rapist. Unless you want to call it sexual assault. I don't know, whatever. But they were already looking for their Trump card, so to speak, to justify sitting out without having everyone jump down their throat and say, how dare you sit out this election? And this gave them that. Right. Again, I'm not like a conspiracy nut, but there is an element of you're being played by bots going on here. There's a lot of bots pushing this story.
I thought that today. The New York Times came out with a thing that he needs to release these archives that he sent to the University of Delaware and stuff like that. And I'm like, and they're like, this is the same email bullshit again. Here we go again. Because that's what Democrats do to themselves. Here we go again. Yeah. Here we go again. And you're going to let yourselves be played.
You know what's interesting?
You let yourselves be played.
On a side note, she was in charge of hiring interns for Biden. It was like December 92 to August 93. And she said the rule at the time that she challenged was that only kids of people who work at DuPont, which is a big Delaware company, only DuPont kids are interns, which is just a bunch of white kids, mostly wealthy.
Delaware.
And she made an effort to diversify. A friend of mine interned for Joe Biden around, I'm going to ask him, I haven't asked him, but around 93, who is not from Delaware, but he was going to college in Delaware, and he's black. So I was going to ask him, like, do you remember this lady? Was she crazy? Doing my own research, because she probably hired. I mean, I think he was there in 93, but I'm not sure what year. If he was there a different year, but he specifically, I remember at the time he was saying, when he was trying to get the internship, he was saying it was kind of hung up because normally they want people from Delaware, and I'm not actually from Delaware. I'm from Virginia, but I'm going to school in Delaware. So there was a little bit of a hurdle, and then it turns out she was someone who pushed to diversify racially and also regionally his interns. So right. I was going to just I need to do it. I was going to text and be like, do you remember this lady? Was she crazy? He probably doesn't remember her at all. He was an intern. Some lady hired him and he went and made copies for 3 months. But I wonder if other people who know her, who have worked with her over the years, will then start coming out and saying, oh, she's credible or she's a weirdo or whatever.
Christine Blasey Ford's story, it never changed.
Yeah.
Never deviated, not once.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always the exact same story.
Exact same story.
Her story has changed now.
Yeah.
4 times.
Yeah. But they still delegitimize Blasey Ford though. It doesn't matter. So with the Democrats being the party of purity and all this bullshit, they're always gonna lose.
I know.
There's no way they can be. That's why it's easy.
Meantime, the guy in the White House has 20 some odd open cases, sexual cases against him right now. Admitted on tape of sexually harassed, sexually assaulting people. Don't matter.
That's why you sit out the election.
Yep. His voters are not sitting out the elect. They're not like, well, he didn't rape me, so I'm voting for him. Okay, you can't win against that.
Go ahead and sit out, dumbasses. Yeah. Let's finish up with Black as Fuck. The old lady's looking through the door at me.
We're in overtime right now.
Yeah, let's finish with Black as Fuck.
So you haven't seen Black as Fuck, right?
I have not seen Black as Fuck. I've not seen Black-ish. I don't watch a lot of those shows.
Andy's white as hell.
I watch an occasional movie or like a documentary or whatever. I don't watch TV shows like that, with rare exceptions.
What'd you think?
Me?
Go ahead, Tim. Yeah.
I mean, you kind of talked me into the episode 4 and 5.
Yeah.
And they were fine. I just didn't. It's just a lot of the stuff about the show I just didn't like. But I don't watch. I think if you like Blackish or Mixedish and some of the other stuff, you might like Black as Fuck. I just didn't like it. I thought it was kind of corny.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
I like the ideas. Though I think there's a lot more that could have been done. The whole, because of slavery thing. That's, to me, that's funny. Just because it's just like, well, everything it all goes back. Slavery.
Yeah, I love that. Everything was.
Black people wear all of this slavery. It's all
slavery.
That
slavery.
That could have been played up a little more. It's just a lot of the stuff.
You wanted more of the slavery.
the acting was a little bit The kids were okay. I just didn't. Rashida Jones at times. Rashida Jones has some good points, and then some of the other stuff I was like, that could have been done so much funnier by. I don't know. It's just a lot of it was just the jokes didn't hit to me.
Okay. Now, you're talking about technical stuff. Most people were talking about just the straight up blackness, which I was like, fuck off.
I don't get that. I don't do that shit.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Tyler Perry cussing was funny as shit to me. Just
really?
I don't give a fuck. Yeah. It's funny as shit to me.
Is it because he doesn't curse, right, in his movies?
No, because he's like a religious dude.
Because that kind of reminds me, I haven't seen it, but it reminds me of the Wayne Brady Chappelle Show moment.
Yes. It's a lot like that. It's a lot like that.
Like a fish out of water.
The thing about Tyler is that Tyler was saying, honest shit about creating his product and who he creates his product for.
Right.
So you could tell, like, oh, he means this shit. He may not
Yeah, I
ever
like
said it
that
like
part.
this before, but he means this shit.
Right.
You know what's funny? I think this may have been Kenya Barris's first time acting.
Yes. And I saw him on T.I.'s podcast. He said
Yeah,
he's
me
never
too.
doing it again.
Yeah, he said he's
I'll
not
only
doing it
do it
again.
for this.
I wish they did a lot more stuff like that where they were just having a conversation
Yeah.
and he wasn't acting. Because I feel
Right.
like for me, I lost it when he started acting.
Yeah. Well, he said, he's like, I'm never doing this. I'll do it for this.
Right.
But beyond this, no, I will not act. I'm not an actor. You
Yeah.
know.
It's fine for what it is, but it's
Right.
I
But
still haven't watched.
the outroar and the outrage that keeps happening from the community, I'm like, you motherfuckers.
They're
Just
bored. What else do they got? They got nothing
Yeah.
else. You can't say black.
Well,
as
it's not
fuck.
even. It's not bored. It's Kenya. There's something about Kenya that it's been like this with him for a while now.
What's that?
People have come about and it started about Blackish, and then he did Grownish and Mixish. They came at him about those.
But what are they? Is it the same thing or is it something
Either
different?
the
Are they
lack of
nitpicking?
blackness or too much blackness or what he defines as black or this or that. To me, if you watch the show, like even on this one, he's telling you about himself in the show.
It's about
It's
him.
about how he feels about
Right.
his place in the industry, what
Right.
kind of husband he is, what kind of father he is, what are his kids going to do, how are his kids going to make it in society as far as navigating being black, are his kids going to be successful, are they going to college, all his worries and stuff, he's showing them all to you right there. They're showing them all to you. That's what he's doing.
Right.
You know. Now, if you don't like his perception of things, that's fine. Don't watch the show.
Right.
But don't say that he's somehow not black because you don't agree with these things. And that's stupid.
I think the idea behind his perspective to a lot of people that are quote unquote like I'm black, like I got 3 baby mamas. Like the idea
Right.
of blackness to them is completely different than him. He's
Right.
just like, hey, I'm a black dude, but I'm also a TV writer, and I'm also my wife is a doctor or ex-wife or whatever.
And the thing is that he doesn't do the thing of, and I don't like this either, is when people say like, I don't want to be known as a black comedian. I'm just a comedian. He's like, no, I'm a black writer.
Yeah.
I'm a black writer. I'm a black man. I'm a black writer. And I agree with that. I don't like when people run away from as we were talking about earlier, people run away from blackness. Why do I have to be a black? Why do I have to be a black? Can't I just be why do you not want to be? That's the question. Because you know that there's a weight that's attached to blackness, a negative weight. You're trying to get away from it. Well, there's also a positivity that comes with blackness from where I'm sitting that I want to be associated with. So
Right.
I'm Randolph Terrance, black comedian, black writer, black podcaster. There we go. Black man.
Andy, when you saw it, like when you're scrolling through Netflix and you saw Black as Fuck, did it make you want to click on it?
Here's my problem with Netflix. A lot of things make me want to click. I do that classic thing where I scroll through for a half hour and just decide to go do something else now. I got so many things that are on my to-do list to watch on Netflix. I watched the Miles Davis documentary that came out a few weeks ago.
Good Lord.
It was solid. It
Sad
didn't
shit.
reveal much about him. It had a lot of good footage, like old footage, but it wasn't like there's a lot. There's a lot to his story. So
sad shit.
I watched that. There's other documentaries that I'm wanting to watch or just shows in general. Like everyone's talking about Ozark. I'm like, I guess I'm gonna watch Ozark.
I watched it.
Maybe,
It's pretty
but I never
good.
get to it.
Yeah.
Is
We
it?
got to go all the way back to the beginning.
I have never seen it.
It's only 3 seasons, right?
There's only 3 seasons, yeah. And I
Yeah.
went through it quick.
I'll go back to the first one.
What took me so long
There's
was I had to wait on Megan, or I had to wait on Megan because she kept. This is the thing. I gotta stop starting shows with my girl because she can't watch that. I can watch the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to watch 2 or 3 and go, okay, let's go and. Yeah. I'm
no.
can we finish?
We in
We
this.
started this shit. No, this is. I'm invested now. Like this is.
Yeah, it's a
happening now.
Saturday now.
No. Let's go for a thing now. Like I'm gonna be thinking about this shit when I'm doing the thing. So I might as well just finish it now.
Yeah.
Every show has a cliffhanger, and I'm not gonna wait. It's right here. Why would I leave?
That's how Breaking Bad was when I binged that. Every show ends with every episode ends with a cliffhanger, so you have to. You don't want to sit and wait for the next one. I got the next on my list is probably the Quincy Jones documentary on Netflix that I haven't watched.
What's that one?
It's all documentaries. The ZZ Top
Speaking
documentary.
of Rashida Jones, she put that together.
Yeah,
Rashida Jones, his daughter. Yeah,
The Quincy Jones doc. Yeah.
So one day I'll get to something else.
It's just how funny the ignorance that people has. Like, is she black? Like, do you know who she is? Do you know her name?
No. Listen to her name. First
Shut
of all.
up. But, hey, you can play ignorant. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think
that's
a lot
all
of
it
them
is.
do.
It's an act. It's just an act. It's just
Yeah.
a dumbass
That's fine.
act.
You know.
All right, let's bring this one home.
Yeah.
We want to thank Tim as always.
Love y'all.
The OG clan is back.
3GOG.
Yep. And as always, none of us have any shows, so
We might.
I mean, we might. Well, you'll know when we know.
We
Let me
can
say
put
it like that.
Yeah, we can
You'll
put
know
something
when we
together real quick.
Yeah, you'll know when we know.
Yeah.
You'll know when
Let
we
me know
know.
when y'all want me back.
Anytime, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, if we do the thing we were talking about earlier for next week, if we do that, we could talk about that during the week. Yeah.
By the way, real quick, we got a comment on the Woke Files with Rick Younger.
Oh, okay.
From Tanya. We'll end on this, I guess. Great Woke Files, Randolph. I love Rick Younger's low-budget morning breakfast show. The gang needs to check it out. He even takes song requests. Just follow Rick on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. He goes live on all 3 platforms. His kids are awesome, but man, watching that show is the best form of birth control out there. They don't give him a minute of peace. Super cute, though. All the best to y'all.
Dang.
No, they don't.
There you go.
No, they don't.
And the Woke Files with Rod will be up later today. So,
So you guys be ready. Well, you'll already
gang.
know. You'll already know.
Patrons, be ready.
So thanks, guys. We appreciate y'all as always. Y'all come on back. We'll be here. Some of us will be here. I'm Randolph Terrance.
I'm Andy Kline.
And I'm Tim Miller.
Hey, all right. I'm going to say publicly to these two, I love you guys. I'm going to stop my recording. And we are out.